that. FBI Director, of course, James Comey will be testifying in front of the House Oversight Committee tomorrow, facing questions from North Carolina Republican Congressman Mark Meadows. He joins me right now. Congressman, thanks very much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you, Marie. It's good to be with you.
What do you make of these new charges now that this is just a Republican story?
Well, it's not a Republican story. It's an American story that really the vast majority of Americans don't want someone saying one thing and then having evidence that would suggest something very different. Director Comey, we'll get to hear from him tomorrow, but it's really more about a double standard. Is there one standard for Washington, D.C. and another for the rest of Americans? There shouldn't be, and hopefully we'll get to the bottom of that and have that illuminated a little bit more tomorrow.
Tell me how you'll do it. I mean, it's true, when watching James Comey yesterday give that press conference, everything he said was one damning thing after another, and yet then he takes a left turn and says no recommendation for charges. So what specifically are you hoping to draw out of Jim Comey tomorrow?
Well, really, he has incredible credentials. As a law enforcement officer, I think that no one can deny who he is, an independent-minded, fair investigator. I think what we're hoping to see is what are some of the other questions that remain unanswered. If we're not going to file charges here, what's going to stop it from happening in the future? Do we need legislation? Why was this standard applied? He can hopefully help us illuminate really the difference in standards that we're starting to see. We know that on at least 2 different occasions, I count 5 different occasions, she told the American public one thing and then told the investigators something else. Is that the kind of commander-in-chief we want? One who will not be honest with the American people? Hopefully we'll see a little bit more of that tomorrow in this hearing.
You know, the issue of intent came up quite strongly during that press conference, and he basically said she did not intend to break the law. But the intent of having a personal server in your home is pretty straightforward.
Well, it's pretty straightforward, and to suggest that Hillary Clinton didn't know better would say that she has failed all her briefings when she was a senator. She failed all her briefings when she was Secretary of State. I can tell you, just in the few years that I've been here on Capitol Hill, I know better, and so certainly when we see that, it's hard for the American people to believe that she didn't have the intent to hide at least something. Perhaps it was not classified. Perhaps it was Clinton Foundation issues or something else. We still need to get to the bottom of that.
Well, I think you make a great point. So where does the investigation around the foundation stand at this point? Are we going to get the result of that after the election?
Well, I would certainly hope not, because I think the American people want answers now. Actually, they wanted them yesterday. And what we have to see is whether it's the Clinton Foundation or anything else, all these issues around the presumptive nominee need to be answered in order for the American people, the ultimate jury of this, to make a qualified decision.
Yeah, what is your most important question, based on what he said yesterday, that you'll be attacking tomorrow? And I wonder if the quote of no reasonable prosecutor would bring this case, which is what Jim Comey said yesterday, is on that list.
Well, I mean, I'm certain that's on someone's list. Mine really focus is how can you take someone who has been unbelievably careless? And, you know, in Director Comey's word, it was very damning. How can you take that standard and suggest that there was not wrongdoing here? What is the punishment for that? Perhaps he can help illuminate that for us. But the other part of that, Maria, I think is as we start to look at this particular situation, people know that something was wrong. Actually, the director let us know that many things were wrong. Why are there not consequences? It's time that consequences start to come back to roost here in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, I mean, he makes the point of saying gross negligence, but he stops short of doing anything about it. We'll be watching, Congressman, certainly closely tomorrow. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Maria.
We will see you soon. Congressman Meadows joining us there.